you were younger that you wanted to express through your music when you first started? Or did you more or less follow some of the mentors that you might have acknowledged at that time before you started creating from in yourself?
Like I say, back then, when I was first starting, like, it wasn't really like no direction. You know what I mean? I was listening to a lot of different artists, like such as DMX, Pac, Biggie, you know, LL, like just trying to get different styles, seeing how they, what do they bring to the table, like how do they use their charisma and what they do and bring it to the table. You know what I mean? Like, if you really think about it, like, I'm gonna actually jump back on like Tupac and Biggie. If you think about it, their message can go to an aggressive message to a very knowledgeable message in a matter of just seconds.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And so when you really break it down, like
that was their key.
Exactly.
In my mind, that was their key.
And see, so it's like they was able to generate like to both sides of the party. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people might not like all this gangster music. You know what I mean? They might like more knowledgeable rap. Some people might like more knowledgeable, might not like a lot of knowledgeable rap, but prefer more the, you know, the gangster, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like in between there, it's like you start to build your craft, you start to see what angle you want to go. Mostly, with all my tracks that I do, or any music that I do, I put myself into that situation.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's, whenever I say on the track, that's me in that situation.
You got to strike a balance between the business and your art.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but
because
it's hard,
there's a business, whether we want to acknowledge it or not is another issue.
Yeah.
And then there's your art.
Exactly.
And where you want to go and how you're going to get there.
When you starting up, it's hard because you got to do both.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to be your own businessman, but you also still got to be the artist.
Right. And in order to be what you want to be, you have to stay true to yourself, and at the same time, you got to move forward. Exactly. Let's get back, James. You started changing up your music recently.
Yes, sir.
And what happened in your life that you determined that you wanted to change up that?
Man. So
you had a few things happen.
Yeah, a few things.
And just say the ones you want, you know.
So a couple of big life events for me. For one, March 23rd, 2012, I got married.
Big event,
huge
event.
Congratulations, sir.
Yeah, wonderful.
Right there.
To my lovely missus, and then the next year, the following year, I had my daughter.
Wonderful.
So so what happened was, actually immediately after I had my daughter.
Now be honest, I'm going to interrupt you. You know, we all talk about the honeys and how we're going to be scoring the honey. and then when you become a father and it's your daughter and you see somebody eyeball her, now the ball game change up. There's a big change up on that thing there. So I know because I got daughters and I understand.
Right. Oh, man.
So you had two big events. And how did that affect your music?
I mean, it definitely affected my music because now I'm looking at the future as far as, you know, just looking at the present time. Now I'm thinking ahead of time, okay, you know, eventually my daughter start listening to music. You know, how is she going to react to some of the songs that, you know, that I've made or that some of me and my friends made? So it's one of those things where, like,
it's like when I used to do pornography. I don't want to go. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Like you said, it's
I
a
really don't want anybody
got
to
a couple movies out, huh?
Yeah. Well, I bought up everyone I could find. You know,
there's still some more out there.
I still pay good money.
Once it hits the internet, that's it.
It's over. You might as well get up. You're famous.
Yeah. Go ahead, James.
But I mean, I just wanted, you know, it's basically changing, like you guys said. You know, eventually you had to change that level. You had to change your lyrics, and I made a song for my daughter. You know, hopefully.
Which we're gonna play it. Hopefully,
yes,
it's on this one.
Yeah, I got it. Probably I sent you the email too.
Okay, but you have it on this CD that's up here now.
No, it's not on the CD.
Oh, okay,
all right. CD. But yeah, I definitely made a song for my daughter, just to her, you know, just a father's perspective, you know. And I felt like it was something different. I know people made songs for their children. Yes. But I kind of wanted to do a Will Smith feel to it, you know.
Yeah, you
just
know.
the two of us we made for a son.
Will Smith is a tremendous example of somebody that understood the art in the business. And he maneuvered his way. And like people say, oh, you know, he sold out or he's this or that. But he had his goal. His goal was that he wanted to be, you know, $20 million a day guy. Right. He achieved it quite honestly, achieved it. But that's a whole different, he came from a different perspective and he had a different goal. But when you changed up some of your lyrics, I guess, too, when you started talking about your daughter. You probably had a different slant on your music, I'm guessing.
I did. I basically brought it to values more so than how you live through, you know, you live through the streets over there. Because you know, just so to speak, I come from the streets. But then at the same time, like you said, you gotta be able to change up. You know, you gotta survive in the streets, but after a while, you got to take care of fam.
Exactly.
And fam come first, you know. So
And you may not necessarily want family to follow the same course. You may want a different course.
exactly,
Doctor, attorney, whatever it might
Exactly.
be. You know.
exactly.
Let me just throw this out. Someone once said that the hip hop music, and for that matter, music even before that, the hip hop music or rap music, is kind of like street history put into music, put into words and music, and street history as perceived by the artist. What do you make of that kind of comment?
I think it's true.
All hip hop really is, it's relatable music. You take your life and you take what you've learned and you take your journey and you paint your picture. And that's all it really is. We are all artists with a paintbrush. And it's up to us how we paint our picture. Will it affect change? Will, you know, can it help somebody? Because initially hip hop was made as a cry out for acceptance. And as you can see, now we're way more than accepted.
Oh, way beyond that. 30 years beyond that. Yeah.
So-
No question, yeah.
But now I feel nowadays.
By the way, I predicted that in the face of tremendous opposition in my time.
I
of
mean,
day.
you know what?
In 81 and 82, I said, this is going to always be here. She said, no, I said, you're wrong. This is
Yeah,
going to
this
be
is-
here.
You know?
when you can
And that was a hell of a
find-
statement then. Not because I
Honestly.
made it, but it's just not too many people
Yeah.
agree with it.
When you can take poetry and construct it and put raw emotion into it, that's bliss. That's simplicity. Like it cannot be, how can I say, duplicated.
That's right.
Hip hop is organic, so all it's waiting for is a new painter. That's all it is.
Yeah, and there's always another painter.
There's always another painter.
Another
Just a
painter.
canvas waiting for a new painter's mark. That's
Painter
all it
watching
is.
the street, watching what goes on in life, watching how they feel. How do you make of that? You think that's a valid statement then?
I mean, it is. I mean, because when you look at it, hip hop, rap, whatever way you want to call it, even country music, anything you can look at, every aspect of music, period, has, you know what I mean, its painter
Yeah.
and the way you bring it together. Like, honestly, if you really pay attention, like even a lot of producers nowadays, they sample from, you know, the music
Everything.
from the 60s, 70s,
Yeah.
classical, rock
Yeah.
and roll, R&B, whatever.
Jazz.
Exactly.
Jazz was the
You know what I
best.
mean?
The first 60 years of what we now call country music, we used to call hillbilly music. And basically it's about crying out about how the tough
pain.
condition and the pain
Yeah.
and the relationships.
Yeah.
And doo-wop music was about almost like a taboo. It was about teenage love affairs, teenage relationships. And a lot of people didn't like that. You know, well, I mean, you can look at all the top doo-wop music of the day in the 50s, and it was basically love songs about young people, like maybe high school, junior high the most.
Like Frankie Lyman, the
And Frank Lyman,
teenager.
Why do
Yeah,
fools
that.
fall in love? And when we get married by the students, and a whole,
man.
you know, and some
Don't
great
make it
stuff.
like that no
You know,
more.
you're a
Yeah,
wonderful
man.
girl. And
You ain't gonna never see no
Right,
mic
never
drop
see that.
like that, splits like that again, boy. That formation.
They bring it back.
Oh man,
Wait a minute.
you ain't gonna see that
And
temptation
and
formation
and
no
the
more.
steps, and the steps. And the
Right.
steps.
You gotta be on
You
time.
know, about, I guess it's must be maybe a year or less before Tupac got killed. And he was in an interview at one of those programs like Charlie Rose. And it was a woman interviewing him. And he's quite articulate, as you well know, he's quite articulate.
That man was ahead of his time.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
she said,
Still
said
is.
to him, you know, why are you doing this and why are you saying that? And he said, well, if I didn't, would you have me on your program now? And that was the
that's
key.
true.
In other words, it's like kind of like what he described. He says, I hit you over the head. Now you turn around to see who it is. He says, if I just said, and that's I'm kind of mimicking what he said.
Yeah.
But it was a point well taken in my mind that he had described, you know, that this was part of what he was
Right.
trying to
You know
do.
what? I
to
remember
get
he did a
attention.
song about that. If I ain't mistaken, on the what's that CD?
He may have
was
put it
the
to
Better,
music.
It was the Better Days CD. And
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about? When
Exactly
he was
what you're
like,
talking
if I
about.
chose to rise thug until the day I died, nobody cares about us.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
Right.
when I start to rise a hero in their children's eyes, now they start to care about us.
Yeah.
So like with something like that, like that's deep.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
when you
yeah.
actually think about it, like if you see a bum on the street,
Yeah.
you're gonna be like,
Yeah,
it's the
dismiss
bum.
it,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? But when you see your child looking up to that bum
Right.
Now you like, okay, hold up.
I gotta pay attention to
Right, my
mom.
child gotta be on. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
see what's happening with
you know
that.
what I mean? Exactly. So now, that's
I
pretty much
think
what it's
that it's a shame that, at least in my generation, and the people even between me and you, the generations between us, a lot of people have missed the point completely. Why I was blessed to figure it out at the beginning, I don't know why, but I always knew that what was happening. But a lot of people don't understand the depth of it. And I remember particularly that people were saying to me, gee, you know, I saw him in the movie, again, Tupac, he was in the movie with Janet Jackson. And
Poetic
yeah,
Justice.
yeah. So, gee, he's so articulate and talented, why would he bother with that? I said, because that's the key of what's inside him, and that's the key that he releases, and that's that becomes the path to everything else. Without that,
what's
he
so
has
sad?
Yeah.
You know what's so sad? Pac, what people forget, Pac was just our version of Will Smith.
That's right.
I get that.
Cause number one, he was, and Will Smith was from the streets too. He's from West Philly, but he wanted way more, and he just wanted better for him and his family, which is nothing wrong with that. That's anybody.
Him and Queen Latifah.
But,
you can't turn the channel on the television. You're going to see one or the other.
Now, Pac was our Malcolm X, our Martin Luther King, all wrapped in one.
Right.
He was our Marcus Garvey, and why I say that is because Pac was an activist. He was just political. Everything about him was raw. You was gonna get nothing but uncut with him. I mean, sometimes it was outlandish. Sometimes it was just
unedited. I love it.
but
you like that,
he spoke with a sense of urgency.
Oh, yeah, you want to get that? We'll see who it is.
Okay, here we go. We have our first caller.
That shows how popular the program is. Right? That's cool, right?
Hello? Well, they have to call back.
Well, they got to call back.
Yeah, like it was one interview Pac had where he was like, you know, he said that's like the people that be outside, you know, Christmas time singing the Christmas cheers, you know, they hungry, they want to eat, and you know the people don't pay attention to them.
Right.
And they've been singing this year after year until one day they just get tired, and then the tune changes because like, yo, our ribs is touching, so now I'm coming through the door, like I'm coming guns loaded.
Absolutely.
So now you paying attention.
Absolutely.
Whereas before we were peaceful.
Yeah, Bill, I think it's time to click it off again and click it on again. And I want to play your piece. RJ, we have a CD there, a purple one.